So today I received this. I'm going to turn this thing on and show you what this looks like. Oh, what are those weird things? All right, so there's a clue for you. So why don't we go ahead and put a diag cartridge in here. And turn this thing on again. And, well, those are quite the jail bars, aren't they? So, any guesses so far what the problem might be? We'll soon find out. All right, let's, I'm going to fast forward this to the sound, if it makes it that far. And let's see if the SID chip works or not. Take your best guess. Oh, that third channel. Yeah, that third channel is gone. So obviously we have a bad SID. Anyways, okay. Well, I was hoping for the best there. SID chips, are difficult to come by. Although, as you all know, I use the ARM SID as a replacement, which is a great quality chip. So, all right. So we're going to take this thing apart here and, yeah, and start testing. And let's see if your best guess was right. So stay tuned. I'm not going to bore you with the unscrewing of the case and all that. So be right back. All right. So first things first, let's take this off here. All right. So that's what we got here. Let's go ahead and take this motherboard out. I'm going to have to take this switch out too in order to do that. For the time being, instead of taking the motherboard out, why don't we just go ahead and just start testing some chips here real quick. We know the SID is bad already, so let's go ahead and start with that. And let's also go ahead and put in our good old reliable Kickman cartridge in, just to see if it's something in the ROMs or if it goes beyond the ROMs that's causing this issue. Okay, so Kickman shows the same issue, so chances are, good chance that it's not any of the ROMs that are causing this. So usually this then starts pointing towards, the VIC, maybe the PLA. So let's take a quick check of those guys. Okay, I'm gonna take out the VIC chip here and let's go ahead and just give this a quick test on our tester. So let me grab the tester real quick and be right back. Okay, so we got our BackBit Pro chip tester here. Let's see if I can I have a challenge sometimes in making sure that the screen can read this thing. So, all right, it's already set up to test the VIC 2 chip. So we'll go ahead and drop that in here. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so it looks like the VIC-2 chip is fine. So I'll go ahead and plug this back in. Okay, so VIC is fine. So PLA is usually the next thing to test, and since no matter what we test at this point, anything that's wrong, we're probably going to have to desolder. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this board out and okay, so let's go ahead and test the PLA chip here. Okay, so we show the PLA's failed. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that the PLA is bad. It could be any of the surrounding chips that's causing it to go bad as well, but it's a start. So PLA. I'm pretty confident it's not the ROMs. Because like I said, we put the cartridge in and the Kickman cartridge bypasses the ROMs and we still have the same problem. Okay, so we replaced this character ROM. I socketed it. Also, when I was down there, I resocketed this 4044 chip because I noticed that one of the legs on it was fractured. So figured since I was already in soldering, might as well do that too. So let's see if this resolved our issue. Turn this thing on. And no, it did not. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm stubborn. I cannot believe that it's any of the RAM chips. I actually, was going out on a limb with the character ROM because of the weirdness of the characters that are there. But the Diag cartridge tested all of these things. It went through the RAM. It gave me the checksums on the ROMs. The board probably wouldn't, react this way if it was the PLA. And I'm going to test this VIC chip one more time because that kind of stuff just points to either the character ROM, the PLA, or the VIC, and I just don't think it's the PLA because of the way it's been acting. So red will fail, green is going to pass if you can't see the screen here because of the glare. Okay. So this says that it's passed. I'm going to run a couple of tests on it. Okay. Let's replace this with a known good PLA anyways. Let's see what'll happen. Okay. Let's go ahead and test this and make sure this is going to pass. Okay, green light. If you can't see the screen, it's passing. All right. This is just for the sake of
sometimes you get false positives because these testers don't necessarily test every scenario on the chip. The chip might be good for the scenarios that it's testing, but it may not be the scenario that's actually wrong with it. Look at that. Okay. What a great lesson for me to show. We swapped out the VIC-2 and now everything's honky-dory. I'm going to put the diag test in here. There's no SID in it because we already figured the SID was bad. We went through that. Well, I'll put it back in, but we already know it's bad. The third channel is gone. So I'm getting a blank screen. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's because I have this in dead test mode, not diag mode. Let me put this in diag mode. Okay, there we go. So, see all the vertical, or all the vertical lines are gone now. All right. So, like I said, what an exercise. The testers, whether it's a BackBit Pro or whether it's, they're giving you a response on the algorithms that they're running against the chip. And all the algorithms that the BackBit tester was running on this VIC-2 chip, showed that it passed. But it's missing, there's that third channel that's bad. We already know it's bad. And you already know the bad things that are coming up is because I don't have the harness plugged in. So the bottom line is that the tester doesn't go through all of the algorithms the chip's probably going through, when it's running. And so obviously it didn't catch the one that was preventing it from displaying all the proper characters. So lesson learned is for the ones that are socketed, even if the tester shows that they're good, replace them with a known good chip or put them in a known good board and see if they still work, just to double check. Sometimes it's hard to do that, just out of discipline, but that's just the way it is sometimes. Fortunately, I was stubborn about it because I've repaired enough of these to know what the possibilities are, what the odds are, if you will, of something being wrong without pulling out the whole oscilloscope and all that other stuff. So anyways, there you go. We have a working Commodore outside of the SID chip, which I'll replace with an ARM SID, and then this should be good to go. We can put it all back together again. All right. So there you have it. A bad VIC, even though it shows up as good. And so I'm not going to bore you with putting this all back together. The whole point of these things, I know some of you might think I cheat by using a tester, whether it's in circuit or not circuit, and it cuts a lot of time down on these videos. But the real point of these videos is to show you screenshots, if you will, of the things that are wrong, and then going through a very quick exercise on trying to figure out what was wrong so you can kind of correlate if you see similar screens with similar symptoms on what I did to repair those symptoms, so that way you can try certain things that have been proven to show that they were solutions to those symptoms. So that's really the whole point. It's not to go and guide you through, the whole theory of how these, how the oscillator works with NTSC and PAL and everything. That's cool and all that when people do that, because it's always good to know the theoretics and the fundamentals of things. But it's not my scope in the videos that I do. My scope in the videos that I do is, hey, here are the symptoms, and then here's what I did to fix those symptoms. So if you have something similar come up, you might want to try or might want to look at the same things I did. Simple as that. Whoa. I thought we were done, dude. Um, I, this is a lesson today on don't trust your tools. So as I was putting this back together, I was testing all the keys, and well, I'll just show you what happened. So I got to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and here's 9, here's 0, here's I, O, J, K, N, M. Nothing's happening, but the rest of the keys, surrounding them all work just fine. So what is the deal? Well, when I was putting this back together, I found that these keys didn't work, and I'm going to shut this off. I'm going to swap this bad CIA with a good CIA chip, and I'll explain what the deal is. So what ended up happening is, you saw earlier in the diag cartridge test, the CIAs looked fine because the timers on the bottom both matched. And that's what that diag test does, is it looks at the timers and makes sure the timers are in sync. But it doesn't go through the actual algorithm of taking all of the keys. You need the key tester for that. So what ended up happening, when I looked and I tested it, that bank of keys wasn't working. So the end result is that bank of keys goes to pin 16 on the keyboard, on the plug, and that goes to pin 6 of this CIA. This CIA U1 controls the keyboard inputs. So when that bank wasn't working, I figured, well, there might be a trace that's bad between pin 16 and pin 6 of U1. Toned it out, and it turns out that there was tone, so there was continuity. So then I knew that it had to probably be the CIA chip itself, even though the diag test showed that the CIA was good. The issue, or the point here, though, is, again, once you thoroughly test everything, don't necessarily take the tools for what they're showing you all the time, because sometimes they don't go through all the algorithms, like I said before, that you would in order to test. So I replaced the CIA chip here, and all the keys now work. So just wanted to make that point. And it works in reverse too. Sometimes you might get what you think is a bad CIA. The tester tells you, SID chip. The tester tells you it's a bad SID chip. But you go and put that in another machine, and it all sounds great. Well, that's because the tester probably has more sensitivity in what it's testing. But chances are, if you put that chip that you think is good into a SID tester, software that goes and tests all of the voices and everything, you might find that it is kind of bad, or the wavelength in it isn't as strong as it should be, even though you can hear it. So, just keep in mind, test equipment. It serves a purpose. Is it the end all? No. Double check, triple check, just to make sure. But know that the algorithms a test unit uses, whether it's a cartridge, whether it's a tester, whether it's whatever, doesn't necessarily mean that it's gone through all the iterations to make a sound decision that absolutely 100% certainty that chip or whatever is good or bad. All right, so now we can wrap this up. Had to interrupt, so hey, let's keep going with the summary. So hope you got something out of this. Don't trust your test equipment per se, because it's limited in what it does, unless it's a pretty insane piece of equipment, which these things aren't. They're only 120 bucks. So yeah, there you have it. So like I always say, life is short, enjoy it. This was an exercise for sure. So yeah, live life. Peace out.